Welcome live from New York. It's Thursday afternoon. For those of you, I always wanted to say that. Well, actually, it would have been nice to say it on the actual show, but hey, that's a whole other story. But thank you for laughing. See, this is why I love the live webinars this way, where people can see you. For those of you who don't know me, I am Vincent Pietrafesa, the Vice President of B2B products and partnerships here at Stirista. We are so proud to announce and present this webinar to everyone called Navigating B2B. It's in regards to our AccessB2B, our new division, our new platform, DX. We'll get to that in a moment, but no webinar talking about AccessB2B or DX would be complete without my guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, he's live in San Antonio. I'm so happy I just got to see him in person in San Antonio. May I present to you our Vice President of Software Engineering, Mr. Karl Van Delden. What's going on, Karl?
Hey there, Vincent. Good to see you. So glad that you could stop by and visit the office last week. It was great catching up with you. I think everybody had a great time and happy to be here today. I heard, through the grapevine, you're the interim GM of AccessB2B. So I'm expecting you to do most of the talking today, right?
Yeah, well, when you're around me, I tend to do most of the talking anyway. It's just a thing that happens. But yes, the interim GM. I saw that in some articles that came out where I was the interim general manager of AccessB2B. I was like, I appreciate the title. It's but for those of you who know sports, and if there's an interim coach or general manager, he or she usually doesn't get the job. So it was kind of a fun misprint that people are having fun with. It's like, you're the interim GM. I'm like, yeah, nope, that's not me. But yeah, look at you. You look sharp. Love seeing you again in this format. So Karl, I want to talk to the audience here. And again, feel free, throw some questions in. We're going to get to that. Karl, for those of you out there who don't know you and what you do for Stirista, please let people know kind of a day in the life of Karl Van Delden at Stirista.
Yeah, certainly. So I've been with the company for 7 years, and DX, this platform that we're going to be covering today, has been a large focus for the better part of last year and beyond. So it's been in the works for quite some time, and a day in the life. We have a wonderful team of software developers that I have the privilege of working with. So I'm in regular communication with all of them, and they've all been putting their best foot forward, getting prepared for the launch of this new platform. So software has always been an aspect of Stirista's strategy and offerings. So we're happy to double down, take it to the next level, and bring a more modern and enjoyable user experience that can really add a bunch of value to our clients.
And recently, so I will talk a little bit about AccessB2B, because AccessB2B, for those of you who may not know out there listening to the webinar, AccessB2B, this is 2 years in the making, I think, because I remember I've only been here 2 years. I know it feels like I've been here longer because I've always admired Stirista from afar. So it's glad I'm finally here. But as far as AccessB2B, it's our new site. You can go there. We thought it would be a better way for people to navigate B2B, hence the name of this webinar. AccessB2B, if you went to our website before, karlstirista.com, we have a lot of amazing technologies and solutions. So you're kind of seeing our political data, B2B data, trigger data, new movers. So it was kind of all in one place. And actually Stirista.com is being revamped as well. That's another announcement coming out. I know you've been busy with that as well. But AccessB2B in one area for the B2B marketer to go and see just our B2B solutions, right? It has Omna, which is our identity graph, identity resolution. You've seen a lot of information out there recently. You've probably seen our CEO, AJ Gupta, speaking about it. You've probably seen myself, Hamid Kayem, speaking about it from our team. And also Adster, our DSP, where you could execute campaigns, CTV, ABM campaigns, display, on the B2B side and consumer, of course, and then our B2B data, our B2B solutions. So that's all in one area where you can go. And then on top of that is this amazing new platform, the DX, Demand Exchange Platform. But Karl, why do you think it was important for Stirista to kind of just show a separate division and just create Access B2B as a whole?
That's a great question. And I always think of, every time my parents would ask me, so what does y'all's company do? Because we do so much, it's not every day that you encounter a company that, starts from square one, because it all starts with the data. And it's really a question of where you take it from there. And different companies will straddle the fence between B2B, B2C. Some are strictly on one side of the fence. So I think this really helps us, focus and build solutions around those respective B2B and B2C disciplines. And, the new AccessB2B site is fantastic. It spans all of the B2B related services. And you touched on Adster. It's been a great year of growth and new capabilities with regards to digital campaigns, CTV, just all kinds of great stuff happening on the Adster front. So, I think of all the things that we've showcased with regards to AccessB2B, DX has been perhaps the most mysterious. You maybe have seen a screen or two on the AccessB2B website or heard through the grapevine that there's this big new software project in the works. So we're really excited to be here today to share this sneak peek, this early look with y'all as we approach our closed beta period with some of our clients, and we're moving swiftly towards live widespread deployment and offering this product across the board to our AccessB2B clients.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you said, mysterious, right? Because, Karl, I think of you as mysterious, right? You're our VP of software engineering. You're always working on new products, right? But, and we would kind of, we don't keep you hidden because we want the world to see you, but you're kind of in the background, right? You're kind of doing all the important stuff, right? Building out new products, new solutions, listening to our customers and hearing what they want. And that feedback from people like myself on the front line. So I love that you described it as mysterious. Talk to us before we get into a deep dive demo, just an overview of some of the solutions it offers. And in your mind, I have my own opinions on it, but why it's different from other customer data platforms out there, right? Resources that way. So talk to me just an overview about what we can expect from taking the deep dive into this and why it's different.
Certainly. So very much in the spirit that AccessB2B has brought together all of these different services, offerings that have brought our clients a lot of success over the years, putting all the best of the batch in one place specific to B2B. The platform follows that pattern, to the T. We're taking all the best elements of our software offerings and really revamping our approach into a singular enterprise scale, bring your whole team, one-stop shop for your B2B data needs. And, this will involve, providing our best of class tools for accessing B2B data that Stirista provides, as well as onboarding your own first party data, which is, very hot in the AccessB2B, especially in the modern environment where you have a bunch of the classic, cornerstones, cookies, a lot of kind of ad hoc data that people are just ponying up to, exiting stage left. So that first party data, our identity solutions, it's all becoming more important than ever. And so we've revamped our strategy, created this new enterprise platform that we intend to support for many years to come. This is just the initial release. So we're actually, that's the essence of a platform, is that you're always launching new offerings and expanding on it. So today we're going to focus on the initial release, which spans our data module, which is, how do we get data into the platform? How do we work with that data? how do we get it out? First party, third party, and of course the almighty suppression, because compliance is key. And of course our new overhauled tools, which facilitate all manner of use cases for getting you the data that you're looking for, whether you're looking for a large scale audience for a campaign, which we can take through our AccessB2B services to email, postal, digital campaigns, OTT, the works. So again, it all starts with data. So that's where we're starting with this platform and bringing these tried and true tools, again, for large scale or even prospecting. I think a lot of people who are familiar with CRMs will see some similarities to that kind of classic CRM style when you step down to the contact level. So it's very flexible, and we wanted to minimize our assumptions of use and take an approach of empowering our users to make this system work for them.
Yeah, and I think with this system, what people will see is that you could put data in, you could enhance your current B2B data from your CRM, or it's just a list that's been sitting there. B2B data needs to be updated constantly. I always say, and I joke, gone are the days where you're at a job for 30 years and you get that gold watch. It's like, see you later. It's not even real gold majority of the time. And then nowadays people are moving jobs. People, unfortunately, losing jobs, switching jobs. So you have to keep that data fresh. So there's that piece of it. There's also then going out and looking for new data, new contacts. But what I think separates this platform is that it's backed by a company like Stirista. And I know that sounds it's Stirista, yeah, but it's true, because then you could, all right, you get those new contacts, you pull out data, but what can you do with it? Well, you can onboard that data into Adster, our own DSP. It all stays here, right? That people always worried about security. All stays here. We can execute it. You want to do an email marketing campaign to that audience to get new customers, stays here. We can send that for you. So that's another piece, just having that built-in technology provider that we are, it can do that. So that's what I think. And of course, I'm gonna have my opinion on more things, as you know me, Karl. So, but before we do that, please in the chat, couple things technology-wise, send us some questions right through the chat. What Karl's going to do now is we're going to turn off. You're not going to see our faces. We're going to show you a demo. And then at the end of that demo, we're going to answer some of the questions that you put in the chat. People already on LinkedIn sent in questions, emailed me some questions. So we'll go ahead and do that. But without further ado, and again, thank you so much for being here, everyone. We're going to show you a demonstration of our DX platform, Demand Exchange, under the AccessB2B umbrella. Enjoy.
So this is the DX platform. We just logged in, and we're greeted here by our dashboard, which is meant to provide you all the summary information that you need. And this is an enterprise scaling platform. So we have our team members. This is all about bringing your team on board, collaboration, working towards the same goals. So we have everything from the contacts under management, which is our simplified approach to kind of managing plans with regards to the platform. Keep it nice and simple. There's our team. And of course, we have a summary activity view here, which basically just describes where these credits are going. What is our team doing? And we can see we're working towards different list of pins, sourcing new audiences. And as we proceed, using these tools, whether we're using our third-party tools or our own first-party uploads, all of the data flows here into data management. And I want to start here because this really is the backbone of the platform. It provides a very uniform experience, whether it's the third-party data through the tools or the first-party uploads that you submit as a user. It all flows into here. First-party data is enhanced as it comes in. Suppression, of course, for the sake of compliance. These are records that we don't want to be uploaded or received in our lists, whether that's opt-outs or unsubscribes, that kind of thing. But this is really where it all starts, in providing that uniform data presentation, regardless of which tool you use. And we also have some organizational tools as far as making it fit your process. We have what we call data stores. So these are effectively buckets that contain your respective lists. Now, I named mine Karl Data Store because that's where I send all my stuff. But whether it's a sales team or marketing team, team level, individual level, it's really just a layer of organization for you to leverage to help maintain organization as you manage this data. And within each of these data stores resides these lists, but of course your team, they can work together, collaborate, manage these lists, update the contacts as you proceed. So there's a couple other cool things that you can do in here. We can step into the list. There's a summary view on the side. We can view the recent activity, and we can actually step into these lists to view the contacts contained within at the detailed level. There's that little list summary view on the side. We also have, in addition to the buckets, the data stores, if you will, we have a tagging system as well, which allows you to tag your lists and simplify your organization. So you can search by tags, search by list name, search by contacts. If you're trying to find a contact by name, you can find all of the lists that they appear in. But here we're adding a couple tags to this list, make it that much easier to go back and identify, maybe these are lists associated with a specific campaign, just really giving the user tools to make the organization of their data all that more intuitive. And of course, we see there at the top the options for toggling your search. We have an open-ended search there at the top to find all the relevant matches. But I think we're going to go ahead and step into the list contacts now. So we call this the list detail view, so we can actually see kind of a snippet of who's in the list, kind of filter out these results based on when they were added, what type of data they have. There's our tags again. And I did mention it before, but we've got a download button there, which is very handy. We're about to take a look at the scope of data that we provide for these B2B contacts. So you can actually download this file, take it with you. And like Vincent said, we can onboard it, take it through to an email campaign or a postal campaign. There's a variety of ways that we can use this data, but that downloadable file makes it very portable, usable for a variety of cases. And now we've stepped into a contacts detail, and we can see everything from name, title, level, everything pertaining to B2B at an individual contact record, as well as we see a company block there. So we have a lot of information about the company, their social presence, the industries that are associated with that company, and even a small note section at the bottom. I mentioned before that we have some CRM-like capabilities built in here. So as your team is working together and collaborating in the system here, there's those modes of communication where maybe the sales team is following up on a campaign list that you sent. They made contact. They can make some notes there in the notes section of that contact detail. And speaking of CRMs, we also do have an integration with Salesforce there. So whether you want to sync a contact to Salesforce at the contact level or the entire list, we have that integration built in. So pretty handy there. And I do believe we've about covered most of the core tenets of my data. Again, this is where the third-party data will flow from the tools that we use, as well as those first-party uploads, which we won't go into the upload process much today, just for the sake of time. And we're going to start today with search contacts, quick search. So I mentioned before, there are a variety of use cases for the platform, large and small scale. So quick search, this is your searching for a one-off kind of prospect. You're looking for specific individuals or specific types of individuals. So maybe you have their name, maybe you just have the company and the types of people that you're trying to reach at that company. We have a couple widgets here. Recent imports from LinkedIn, which works with our extension, which I'll be touching on later in this presentation. We also have recent searches, so you can kind of see where did I leave off? Who have I seen before? Maybe I should revisit them. And as you add these contacts to that lower portion, new business contact, new business companies, we will suggest similar profiles and companies to what you've been searching here in quick search. We're going to start out looking for AJ Gupta, our CEO. So I'm adding AJ Gupta Stirista, combination of his name and the company name. And there he is, right there at the top of the results. So it's a very flexible, smart search to find the people you're looking for, combine the names, combine the company name. We can see the availability of phone and email in that row, as well as the tools for us to send these records to our respective data store, my Karl data store in this case, and a destination contact list. So again, the data stores are like buckets, and we're sending this to a list within that bucket, so to speak. So we're going to add him to AG Summer 2021 there. And with a simple click, we should be committing his contact to that list. Very easy. And when he gets through there, his detail is going to be the same kind of presentation that we saw at the contact level before. So all of the personal, company, as well as notes, that whole detail. And in addition to searching, we have these filters here, your typical B2B filters, as well as some extra detailed. So you can actually combine these. If you're looking for, say, a director of marketing, you can combine the director level with the marketing department. You can filter your results by company size. So even if you're looking generally for a certain type of person rather than a specific one by name, you can leverage these filters to find exactly the type of person that you're looking for. So we've added AJ. I think we're just about ready to proceed to the next tool, which is the, actually we'll take a quick look at find email. So let's say, despite our best efforts with quick search, we don't have a B2B record for someone that you're looking for. Maybe they just changed jobs like yesterday. We can look at our find email tool here, which is a pattern algorithm where we can say, all right, we know 85% of people at this company have an email that's first initial, period, last name, at company domain. That algorithm can help you derive an email based on those inputs. But let's move on to Audience Builder, because this is probably the largest, kind of most anticipated aspect of this release, next to the data management portion. And of course, the list that we create here will be a large scale audience, and we're going to send that through to our data management. In fact, a lot of those lists that we saw in the data management module were created using this Audience Builder. Now, if you're familiar with our classic count site, some of this might seem pretty familiar. What might be new, or most notably new, is we actually have a breadcrumb here, a process. So we're walking you through this very complex segmentation, just like a walk in a park. We've taken it, we've simplified it, streamlined it, and really made a lot of intuitive ways to make use of these different data points. So first things first, we've given it a name, B2B Webinar Test. we're picking what kind of information we'd like, the postal, email, and phone number. It's probably a good starting spot. Now you can pick, if you're getting a lot of contacts, you can trim it down to 1 per company or in per, 2 per, whatever number per you'd prefer. We're going to take all per for today. And last but not least, for good measure, we have a place to declare your suppression up front there. So we're going to go with no suppressions, but we can either select from those explicitly suppression lists that we saw in data management, or we can actually target one of the other lists that, you know, might not be suppression, but we just say, I want to exclude. I've already run a campaign to this list. I want to make sure I don't double dip there. So with the basics out of the way, we're on to geography. And we have this cool map tool right here. It's very easy to interact with. You just click, as we see, we click Texas there. Let's get California. And as we click these, they're highlighting, they're adding to our selected locations there. Let's go ahead and get Florida, coast to coast. And besides the easy state selection there, we're going to search Chicago. And bam, we get zoomed in. We've got this little marker here with a variety of options on what to do with it. So we can either select specifically Chicago, the city. We can do the complete state. You know, some of those smaller ones might be harder to click at a high level. Or we can draw a circle. Now let's go ahead and draw a circle because, you know, that's a bit more interesting, I think. And this is great for your zip code, radius, style use cases. So we're dragging it out. We're getting Milwaukee, Chicago, Detroit in one big circle. We've added it. You can see there on the selected locations, zip radius right there alongside our state criteria. So we've got a good bit of coverage, geographically speaking, with this selection. Now, admittedly, as cool as this map tool is, not all geographic selections are going to fit it. Sometimes our clients will come to us and they have 200 plus zip codes that we need to select. It's actually a pretty common scenario. So we also have these locations in bulk options at the bottom. So whether it's a list of states, cities, counties, zip codes, DMA, MSA, all those options are there, each of them with a upload file option. And we also have an index for most of these as well. So not zip codes, that would be a bit too much for zip codes, but states, cities, you can come down here, see the list, expand it, and select just like you would populating a checklist of sorts. So whether you're using the map tool or these bulk location options, whatever suits you best, they're all on the table. And we even have a little manual entry for zip codes if you want to copy and paste them right there. Or of course the file upload, always an option. All right, so I think for now, we're gonna go ahead and leave it at those selections, California, Texas, Florida, and our circle around Chicago. Let's go ahead and update our account, see how that geography has affected our avail here. All right, a little shy of 5 million, not too shabby. We've got a little detailed breakdown of the types of data available for that selection there on the right side. But now we've moved on to the industry tab. So we have both SIC and NAICS codes available for selection. And if you've ever worked with these codes before, it's probably been with another tab open to look up what all of them mean. We've taken that part out. This is probably one of my favorite parts of Audience Builder because all you have to do is come in here and enter a keyword. You don't have to necessarily know the codes by heart. If you're not familiar with these codes, the highest level is 2-digit, but it can go all the way out to, I believe, 8 digits. And it's just a hierarchy that lets you step into increasingly more detailed industry categorization. But we don't need to know those numbers like the back of our hand. We can come in here. I just type cereal, and we can see a breakdown of the high level industry, the 2-digit there. So we can differentiate between who's making the cereal and who's growing this cereal. So we've got those top 2 entries: food and kindred products, cereal breakfast farms; agricultural production crops, and cereal crop farms. So very handy because there's a lot of different aspects to the supply chain on the B2B side. But we take out all that number work. You just come in here with your keywords and you can add a combination of these. So we're going to pick a few there. We've got agriculture, the cereal, as well as another agricultural services SIC there. And we're on to company. And again, we're not going to go through each and every tool available here in the audience builder. We'll go ahead and update the count there. With those industry selects, we're down to 18,000 with our current selection. But we'll fly through company and personal just to highlight some of the more prevalent features there. So we have Abm List Support. So Abm, still all the rage. That's account-based marketing. If you have a list of companies, company names, domains, in one big file, we're right here ready to take it for you. Upload that and easily segment your audience selection specific to that list of companies. And of course, if you don't have a large file and you're just looking for kind of a smaller scale ABM, we have company name and domain selections here as well. So company name, company website, if you just need to punch in a couple off the cuff there. And even to save you some work, if you happen to type in company name, you can click that same as company name checkbox there, and we'll go ahead and populate the respective websites there. And one thing to note, because we are working a lot of criteria together here, we have these and or operators with each of these. So if we have a mutually exclusive list of company names and company websites, we can use the or there so that we're getting both sides of the Venn diagram there, so to speak. Not just the overlap between them, but we can use the or to broaden our reach and take both sides there. So that's kind of the starting provisions for kind of an ABM company focused segmentation use case. We also have company revenue and company size. I think we got a pretty decent look at those on the quick search, but revenue ranges, company size ranges. So starting off, we have professional title. So again, kind of keyword driven title selection there. Though you can also, there's a lot of variance in titles. So if you're looking for a more clear-cut level and department segmentation, both of those are there, as well as more personal segmentation such as gender, language, ancestry, and ethnicity. So all very useful points of segmentation, even on the B2B side. So we finally arrived at the review tab, which will give us a chance to catch our breath, look back on the avail that we've selected. So we've got that 18,000 record breakdown, what data is associated with that selection. Quick recap of our basic information. So our audience list name, the types of information we've requested, and also a quick summary recap of our criteria. So we see Texas, California, Florida, the zip code radius that we did around Chicago, as well as the industry codes that we picked. And you can see those kind of stand out from the default no selections for those tools that we didn't use in our process. So just one last spot check before we proceed to the final purchase prompt. So we get another quick look at our available balance, make sure we're covered, and even have one last opportunity to adjust that quantity. If, say, maybe we don't need a list quite that big, let's trim it down a bit. 80 seems good. And we've already given it a name, so we can go ahead and click use same list name. Now, that's an option because we could save this search for later, send it to an existing list. In this case, I'm going to create a new list based on it in my data using that name. So I'm sending it to Karl Data Store. B2B Webinar test, just like we named it. It's already populated there. So with a click, we confirm we're sending this selection. A brand new list of 80 B2B contacts are on its way to our data management store here. But we'll keep things moving. That will flow into our third-party category here because we used the Audience Builder tool. That list will come into our third-party category there. And while that's running, we'll go ahead and take a quick look at first-party because we mentioned before we can take in the first-party data and even enhance it. So let's take a look at what that looks like. In this case, I uploaded an email-only file into the system, and for those that we're able to match, we get a contact just like this. It looks almost identical. In fact, pretty much exactly identical to the same scope of data that we're able to provide for that direct third-party import from the tools. So that's what we're talking about here. The only input was an email. So we've simplified the append and enhance process to where you can simply upload your first-party data and we take care of the rest. We help you map it and we match it and import it as an enhanced record here in my data. I'm gonna probably skip over the account based features. So we talked about the team and the singular account balance to help simplify the plan model. So we'll touch on the last main feature for this initial release as far as getting data, which is our extension. So if you're familiar with Stirista Scout, this will probably seem very familiar, but also quite new because you'll notice this widget here that I'm clicking on, not standard to LinkedIn. And it doesn't quite look like it did when it was in Scout. So again, we've taken the best of our classic product offerings and taken them to the next level. So we're going to go pay Vincent a visit here, a long time no see. And our widget shows that we have found his profile. So we're not scraping this off LinkedIn. We're just having a look here at Vincent and saying, hey, we have a B2B record associated with Vincent. So it looks like that record has email available. And we can see again, there's Karl Data Store, where I've been sending all of my data from quick search through Audience Builder to the extension we're looking at here. And you can, if you're a power user, we have an auto discovery toggle there. So you can hop in here, start looking for people that you want to make contact with or reach out to or retarget with the campaign. And auto discovery will automatically add those contacts to that destination list that you see there, B2B webinar test, which is the same list that we just created in Audience Builder. So whatever the tool, you're able to converge all these different bits of data into the same list, if you so please. So we'll go ahead and send Vincent there. And that should send him right over to our B2B webinar test list. We have a couple quick shortcuts, whether you're trying to navigate directly to the list that is selected or just back to my data. Vincent has arrived in our B2B webinar test list, and he looks very much to be well-rounded in his data detail there, just like all of the other contacts that we saw that were added through Audience Builder, as well as our first-party enhanced upload scenarios. So this unified presentation layout, this data can be downloaded as we touched on before. And there's even a bit of CRM flair to it. So a variety of tools. This about covers our initial offering for the initial DX platform release. Let's take it back and talk a bit more about AccessB2B with Vincent, I think.
Thank you so much, Karl. Appreciate that. I love, you know what, there's so many things I love there, but if you see the origin, I love that there's some personal information based on a business profile, because it said actually origin Italy. I'm like, that is exactly right. I was like, that was pretty cool. But it's also, being on the front line, being, people out there who are going to see this on demand and are watching live now in this webinar, who are in sales, you're always thinking of clever ways to connect with a prospect, having a little bit of personal information, maybe where they went to school, especially that LinkedIn information, where you could kind of break the ice a little bit and formulate some more personalization. I think that's perfect. And I live in LinkedIn and Sales Navigator and LinkedIn, and having that extension is perfect. If you could just hover over a name, add it in, and match it to the Stirista data, and instantly have Karl Van Delden's, maybe his email, his phone, a way to connect with you. That's awesome. I love that feature. Thank you so much, Karl. Also, let's get to some questions. I did promise that questions and our attendees here are everything to us, so I appreciate that. So let's get to, if you don't mind, Karl, some questions. If you have some more, throw them in the chat. We'd love to get to those. Can I purchase B2B records on Access? And is there any restrictions in buying data? I'll take a piece of that, Karl, because you could license those records, purchase, you think of purchase like, oh, I got it, I own this record forever. That's not the case. It's a licensing of the B2B data, which is an unlimited use for a year. Now, I will add, for those marketers listening in, once you're sending some content, you license my data, you send me some content, I download a white paper, I set up a demo with you, I become a customer of yours, the ultimate goal, then I'm in your CRM, you have that record. But to license that data, that's what we kind of call it there. And restrictions around that, Karl, it really, which is not in the database, but international records, there's a lot of restrictions on that. The use of the data, what you're going to kind of do with it. We'd love to, when we talk to our customers, we always love to understand what you're going to do with the data. Tell us how you use this marketing data. So there are restrictions around that, just use of it, going ahead and reselling that data for less. Restrictions on that, right? Did I cover that?
I think those are some great points to touch on. And, when you're taking data in, even in a agreement, licensing agreement, a lot of the compliance falls upon how you're going to use that data. We've taken all of the thought about, sourcing and the licensing, but also I think you touched on before, Vincent, that we're really trying to offer an end-to-end kind of environment with AccessB2B. So we're also taking all of that guesswork out of the campaign process, out of the reporting process. When you send something like that downriver, you might be working with, somebody who doesn't cross all their T's or dot all their I's when it comes to the campaign. And it makes it even harder to make sense of things when it comes time to report. So, certainly we're all about making this data accessible through the DX platform, but we also want to, reiterate that we have all of that in-house expertise to facilitate using that data in a compliant and effective manner throughout the whole process, and actually getting feedback from those efforts to help inform your campaign process for the next time. So it's great feedback loop.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we answered Margaret's question, but thank you for the question. We appreciate it, and kind of showing the demo. Again, a lot of it's in, we could talk about it all we want, but showing the actual demo is always, to me, the best way. When you say you have a Salesforce integration, what does that exactly mean? What does the integration do? That's a question coming in.
Yeah, so at the moment, it's mostly a push. So this is a way for you to get prospects. So you touched on the extension being very handy. So that actually is a spiritual successor to something that we demonstrated with our Scout tool. And that was an interesting tool because it was so different from the traditional marketing style tools that we use. But we found this was a very popular, this prospecting tool, this extension, very popular with the sales crew. And it was important for us to bring that into this platform because, again, the enterprise approach means that we want to bring in everyone as a team to collaborate in their respective ways. And this is a great way to get sales involved, kind of remove that barrier a little bit between marketing efforts and sales efforts. So we have a variety of tools in there, whatever does the job best for you. In this case, I do think sales sees great benefit from the extension and quick search, those kind of specific targeted, I'm trying to find somebody and follow up with them. And as an extension of that process, we've provided a integration with Salesforce so that you can take those prospects and push them through to your CRM. Your, in this case, Salesforce being the CRM, if that is your preferred process.
Yeah, and if not, if you don't have Salesforce or you're not utilizing a CRM, someone could simply extract those records, download them, utilize them in your own cadence. If you are looking to send a lot of those emails, again, I would go with a company that's used to sending out emails, especially acquisition emails. You don't want to load up, hundreds of thousands of records and send them out in Gmail. You do not want to do that. But another question we have is the freshness of the data. How often is the data updated? We touched upon it as far as B2B records go and the importance of it, but can you talk to the group here on how often?
Yeah, certainly. So as far as the logistics behind the data, it's a continuous process. So if you've ever heard the old adage, eat your own dog food, ours is pretty tasty. We're all about using our campaign exhaust to drive better data. We have a continuous hygiene process that we employ for every campaign. So we're taking all the hygiene feedback, we're taking our campaign feedback that, some things hygiene just doesn't catch. The software isn't going to be able to tell you something that you might only get from sending a campaign. So we're talking email, digital, all these different channels that feedback into our data process. So I'd say it is continuous, but generally we can expect to span the entire database within a month. So that is part of this life cycle, is that the data that is being tapped into, that is being used, provided through the third-party tools as well as for enhancement, is a process of continuous improvement. So that's one of the things, like you said, Vincent, it's very important to stay on top of changes in B2B data because people change jobs, companies change. So yeah, in a nutshell, it's continuous, but because it is also very large, it typically takes about a month for the entire database to be polished up or completed, updated in full, if you will.
Yeah, and that's actually a nice segue because, as I mentioned before, and again, if we have a time for a few more, if you want to throw them into the chat, but we had put this out on our social media for people to send in some questions about this. So I have one. It's a nice segue into it because it's like, there's, and I'm sorry, I'm reading from this. There are a ton of data providers out there, but how does your data, as far as the B2B side, differentiate within this platform? So I think you touched upon it. And if I could add something to it, Karl, it's because there's a lot of people, okay, yeah, we have a database. Sure. Great. But I think because we are sending, we are doing marketing campaigns, acquisition marketing campaigns, retention campaigns to our data, both on the B2B and B2C side. There's nothing like campaign tested and campaign verified. I know that Bill Jenkins isn't at his company because I just got a bounce back and I just got a hard bounce, right? And a bounce back. Bill's no longer here. Contact Katie, right? So we have that information. So I think that's one of the differentiators. And I will hammer this point home again, a big differentiator of the entire platform, AccessB2B, is that there's also those other pieces where, oh, okay, yeah, I'm doing account-based marketing. I'm accessing different data. I'm using the navigator, I'm sorry, the extension tool, but then what can I do with this? I want to target them on a larger scale. What can I do with that? Well, there's Adster, there's email marketing that you could do. All stays within the Stirista environment, if you will. But if you just wanted to add anything about just, data differentiators.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Vincent. Like they say, a rolling stone doesn't grow moss. And it's one thing to have a lot of data, it's quite another to maintain it. So that continuous feedback process, learning those things that you aren't aware of until you actually use the data, that's what we're all about. And because we are so invested in using it, we're invested in improving it. So there's a lot of kind of proprietary internal processes that we've worked on, making sense of all that different feedback and putting it back into our process and enhancing that data. So, certainly I think we could expand, we could probably even have more data than we have on tap now if we weren't so stringent about that process. But really in this case, not to say that we're lacking in quantity, but we really do believe in the power of quality.
And just the last question here, we received 12 variations of this question, so we do appreciate that. When could people access, unintended, the DX platform? So I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. 12 people are asking about it. So really quick, with just 2 minutes left here, just when is the demo? People can get on there, start utilizing it, sign up for the different packages.
Right on. So we are proceeding with what I'd like to call our closed live beta. So, we've had it on the test environment for some time, getting it to the best state that we can, on the paint, all that good stuff. So the end of the month here, I would invite you all to reach out, to Vincent, get in touch with the team, because at the end of this month, we are looking to engage some of our close clients, period, because we do value your feedback. It's part of that continuous improvement that we believe in. So we're very eager to have people who would like to partner with us during this final test period, which is occurring at the end of the month. And I do believe about a month after that, we'll have it wide open. You start requesting those demos on the AccessB2B site, you'll get in touch with somebody who can put you on the DX platform.
Well, awesome. Yes. And my email address is vincent@stirista.com. I see some of my clients, my amazing clients on the webinar here. So please reach out. We've already been talking. This has been great, Karl. Thank you so much for your time. That, of course, is Karl Van Delden. He is our Vice President of Software Engineering. I am former interim GM, Vincent Pietrafesa. I'm kidding. I'm the VP of B2B Products. This has been Navigating B2B by Stirista. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really value your time. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
Vincent. Have a great one.
Take care, all. Bye.
Cheers.